recognize these young people who have done extremely well in maths and physical science from the previous year. And we select them also on their choice of studies. So these are students studying in the sciences, medicine, and engineering. We choose a man and a woman from each of the 9 provinces, and this evening there are also 2 students that were selected by the minister. We encourage these students to continue with their studies and to go on to postgraduate study and careers in science, engineering, or medical research. The program for these students includes the following: hosting the students at the Awards Gala dinner every year with all costs sponsored. This is now covered by the Carl and Emily Fuchs Foundation, to whom we are very grateful for their support. The students are recognized for their achievements. A motivational speakers program is held, where the students are inspired and given advice about life skills, studies, and future careers. That took place this morning. Our appreciation to the inspiring speakers who addressed the students, including our sponsors, South 32, the Fuchs Foundation, and Mail and Guardian. Dr. Arendse, as he mentioned, also addressed the students, and we had someone from Nexa as well. Then assistance in accessing bursaries is also part of the program. The minister has kindly granted funding for bursaries, in addition to the 2 students that she specifically is recognizing, for those students who do not have full bursaries or scholarships. This is most welcome and appreciated. And then there's an educational tour, as you've seen on the video. This year, the tour is sponsored by the SKA, so the Square Kilometre Array radio telescope. And the students visited various places along the way. As you could see, they visited the SKA site and the Large Telescope site in Sutherland, but they did some stargazing in both places and learned about the stars in a place where you can actually see the stars. I mean, here in the city, it's hopeless. You can't study the stars. We also visited the South African Astronomical Observatory in Cape Town and learned something about the establishment of astronomy in South Africa. Right, some bursaries will be awarded to some of these students because the minister has granted some money. The particulars will be determined next week because it depends on the particular needs of the students. And since we're halfway through the year, those needs actually vary. As I've mentioned before, what is very surprising about these brilliant students is that there are always a few of them who do not have full bursaries, and that is again the case this year. So they might receive a small merit bursary from the institution where they're studying, but not enough to cover their studies, which means that their parents end up taking out loans. If you are interested in providing any support, please approach me, as we don't know exactly how far our current funding will go, but it's certainly, I want to reiterate that we are most grateful to you, Minister Pandor, for your support and for plugging this very distressing gap in the education system. Right, I would like to call on some of the students to come and address you. Our first speaker is Jane, who is studying at University of Pretoria.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I come from Gauteng, and I'm currently a first-year mechanical engineering student from the University of Pretoria. Information really excites me, and having the opportunity to continuously increase my knowledge in a field of study that has so many technological applications is a true privilege. I've always been interested in how things work and how technology has impacted the human civilization. I decided to study mechanical engineering because I believe that it will allow me to use my gift in both maths and science, as well as to positively impact the lives of people. I love what I study. because I know that it will give me a good foundation in mathematics, chemistry, electronics, and manufacturing. And this will assist me in the future in deciding in what specific channel of engineering I would like to specialize. At the moment, I would like to do postgraduate studies in either biomedical engineering or renewable energy. My goal is to one day be a part of a technological development that will help communities in Africa. Attending such a prestigious event such as this, as well as going on the tour with the SKA, has made me really proud to be South African. Learning about the research that is going on in my country is truly inspiring. And it makes thinking about the next 5 or 6 years of studying that lies ahead of me a little bit easier, less daunting, and more exciting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jane. Our next speaker is Dylan.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dylan Tlamulo Maluleke. I'm a first-year student in civil engineering at the University of Cape Town. I am from Limpopo, Ntoyando, Manini. It's really an honor for me to stand here in front of you. I thought I had it, and I had done speech and I had experience, but believe me, it's tough. I only have a bunch of test twos, and I'm here standing in front of people with PhDs, people who have done so much research. Please feel my pain if I get hiccups. Growing up in a remote area, I developed this love for cars. I just watched them pass, and I always wondered, what is it that goes down? What is it that happens before these wonderful machines passed in front of us? It always enticed me. And I knew there was someone who was responsible for those lovely machines, which are cars. I can recall that fateful day as though it happened yesterday. I was only 8 years old. My teacher pointed at me. He asked me, what is it that you want to be when you grow up, Dylan? And I, with all confidence, said that I wanted to be a mechanical engineering. My teacher, with so much passion, gracefully, he corrected me and told me it wasn't, the person isn't the mechanical engineering, but the person is the mechanical engineer. From that day onwards, I walked head and shoulders high, telling people I would become a mechanical engineer. That was all I knew. It was when I was continuing with the journey that I learned of a field called civil engineering from my dad. I was only 12 then, but I was enticed by the demand, that's employability, and the challenge that comes with it. It was not until I made it to FET, where I started doing my physics and math, that I could join and connect the dots, that my favorite subjects, which are math and physics, which got me here tonight, would lead me straight to my ideal career, which is civil engineering. It was then that I started understanding that engineering, civil engineering in particular, would provide me one of the best platforms to counteract the problems that we face in our country, South Africa, which is unemployment, as it is fairly easy to start up your own practice and not have to rely on getting employment and getting a job and all that. And it is also one of the main careers that you can contribute to building our South Africa, which is in desperate need of good sanitation, transport system. Hey, I'm from Cape Town, I know the traffic is bad. Good buildings, and of course, sustainable water supply in our country. One of the most important things I like about civil engineering, engineering as a whole as well, is that it dares you to think miles beyond mediocre, solving problems that people thought as the norm, something you cannot go beyond. It brings the concepts of physics, all those wild ideas of physics to life. I can give you an example of so many achievements we have had via engineering. We have a vast number of things we have put together as the tallest buildings in Dubai. We put together applying all the concepts of physics and then actually bring them to life. To me, civil engineering is more than just a field I'm in, nor something my family and friends can boast about, but it is about bringing a long-awaited change, development and employment to the people of our land. Some say civil engineers save more lives than doctors. Think of clean water, sanitation, transportation, to mention but a few of some of the most critical needs people have that civil engineers provide with pleasure. But that's the story for another day. If civil engineering was a color, then my blood will be that color, born to be a civil engineer. I believe that it wasn't by chance that God created me as I am, that He has a purpose for me, a task for me to complete. There might not be much that I can do, but the little I can do matters. I don't know how, I don't know when, nor do I know precisely what I'm supposed to do, but I am going there. I am going to do my part. Thank you.
Fabulous, Dylan. Thank you for that speech. Our next act is a double act. We've got 2 students this year that are studying veterinary science, and so they will give their speech jointly. Please welcome Marley and Tiana.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tiana Dotkins, and I'm studying veterinary science at University of Pretoria.
I'm Marley Harris, and I'm also studying veterinary science.
Okay. We were both very fortunate that our fathers are vets, and we basically grew up in the practice, and we knew from a very young age this is what we want to do. But for any young girl of 3 years old sitting on her dad's operating table, the path to become a vet is not that straightforward. The hardest part is definitely the selection process, because it's a nightmare. There's only one university in South Africa, the University of Pretoria, that gives the course. And to get in, you have to compete. In grade 12, we were biting our nails as we were wondering, is our marks good enough? Because even though it might be good compared to the people in our school, we have to compare it to the people in the land and in other countries as well. You can imagine the relief when we finally got the news, our dreams are on track. We have gotten in.
We usually get the question, but why veterinary science, especially for a lady? Well, firstly, humans are quite gross, and animals are so much better. And secondly, with veterinary science, your options are endless. Small animals, equines, wildlife, production animals, etc. From a female point of view, the physical aspects of veterinary science might be a challenge, but that is why we do it. We want a challenge. What is life without a challenge? And then we would really like to thank our parents for the opportunity to make 2 little girls' dreams a reality. Thank you.
Thank you very much, girls. Of course, veterinary science is very relevant to our theme. Sustainable tourism depends very much on sustainable wildlife. It's certainly a part of the industry, it's an important part of the industry. And so I'm very pleased that we happen to have the 2 of you on the program this year. I just want to stress that we don't actually select people to be particular programs, in particular fields of engineering or particular fields of sciences or medicine. We look at the marks and we go from the top of the list, from 100% for both maths and science, and we start phoning the students who were learners last year. And what we find is that the very top mathematics students tend to go into business areas, finance and business, chartered accountancy and that sort of thing. but we're looking for those who are going into science. And so we decide when we find the top ones who have chosen some course of career, some course of studies that is science related in some way. So it is complete coincidence that, or destiny, that we have 2 veterinary students. The stories of these students are amazing. We don't have time to let all of them speak, and they're very grateful for that. But please have a look in the Who's Who booklet to see at least where they're studying, what province they come from, and so on. And we will be profiling them in the coming few months. We hope that we can tell you more about where they come from and what their dreams are. And I want to say to them, I hope all your dreams come true.